Okay, I wanted to give some tips for a dog's middle to lower back, because especially older dogs, whether they have hip pain or shoulder pain, how they tend to hold themselves really tight, and then you'll just see this part of the back get really, really tense, tight. Sometimes they'll get up and kind of arch their backs like a cat and try to stretch a little bit, but you can tell that they're holding themselves in a way that it hurts. So I just wanted to give a few tips. So all right, this is my dog. I know you can't see her really well. So these are her shoulders. These are her hips. So if you just want to start getting your putting pressure, getting your hand and putting pressure on either side of the spine. You don't want to push on the spine, but just real gently on either side and just slide down. And so I just start that way and really gently, because especially for these older dogs, this whole area gets so sensitive and there might be several muscle knots along the way. So if you push too hard, they're just going to jump or snap or something. So just really light and just kind of go down and see what you feel. And just kind of introduce them to that initial touch. And then again, if you have an older dog, which is kind of what I'm gearing this towards, it'll probably just feel really tight and tense underneath. So the next step would just be to use the palm of your hand, like a wide part of your hand, on either side of the spine, and just put light pressure this way. So I'm not sliding down, I'm just kind of putting pressure on either side of the spine, and then release. And then a little pressure, release. So I'm just kind of moving it ever so slightly, but I'm not using like my fingertips, and which can be really sharp and just too much pressure. So I'm just using a wide part of my hand. And then the other thing you can do is to kind of, again, use a wide part of your hand, put pressure down, and then move it up, and then let gravity pull it back. So pressure, move it up, and then let gravity pull it back down. And I'm doing this, again, first on the one side of the spine, then on the other side of the spine, I'll just kind of pull up, and then let gravity pull it back. So you're just moving the muscles underneath really gently. Again, without using fingertips or anything that's gonna hurt a muscle spasm and just be way too hard. And then I'll just go back down again and kind of feel underneath, see if anything feels looser at all. Then the other thing you can do is to get your thumbs on either side here. And then you can just do light circles. So again, I'm not pushing on the spine. I'm just going on either side of it and just doing light circles. And I'll stop. There she goes. Yeah, sometimes they'll lay down, they'll stretch, they'll kind of let you know if they're enjoying it. And just really gently. And again, I stop when I get to the hip bones. I don't want to push on the hip bones, and I don't want to push on the shoulder blades. It's just this middle back section. So you can do the light circles. You can do that wide pressure that I told you about on either side. Always avoiding the spine, sliding down. And then lastly, if you start to feel like it's all loosening up under here and it's not just so rigid, and if they're relaxed like this and they're not kind of giving you signs that it's painful, then if you feel little muscle knots underneath, then you can get maybe 2 fingers and just put a little more pressure and just kind of hold it for maybe 10 seconds and then release, and then hold it again and release. So that way you can pinpoint a couple muscle spasms, but it's after you've already loosened up the whole area. So those are just some tips for any dog, but especially the older dogs. They really get tight and hold themselves, really rigid here. So hopefully that'll help. All right, take care.